This is Higher Maths, it's practice paper E, and we're looking at question 25 in the non-calculator paper. So express 2 root 2 cos x minus 2 root 2 sin x in the form k cosine x minus a, where k is greater than 0, and we've got the range here between 0 and 360, not including 360 for the angle. Right, so let's go ahead and do part A first of all. Okay, so part A. So what we're going to do is express this in the form of this one here. So k cosine, and that's going to be x minus a. Okay, so to expand this out here, all I'm going to do is look at the formula sheet again. Okay, so if I look at the formula sheet, the expansion of cosine is here, and just make sure you get your signs round the correct way when you expand that one out. Okay, so expanding this will give me, it will be k cosine x cosine a, change the sign to a positive, and that will be k sin x sin a. I'm going to bring this down and compare it. So 2 root 2 cosine x, I've got a minus here, and it's 2 root 2, and it will be sin x. So what I'm going to compare is this part here, and I'm going to compare this part here as well. So top and bottom, I'll just discard these signs here, and what I can say is that k sin a is equal to negative 2 root 2. Okay, so k sin a is equal to negative 2 root 2. Over on this side here, I'll just take the cosines away, so k cosine a is equal to 2 root 2. K cosine a is equal to the positive 2 root 2. Okay, so to work out our angle, what we can look at is, we know that that there is going to be equal to tan a. So the angle that I'm going to be looking at will be all sine tan cos. From there, just look at what's negative, and sine is negative, so sine would be negative here, and it would be negative here. Okay, cosine a is a positive, so cosine is going to be positive, so it will be positive there and positive there. So I'm looking for a value in the fourth quadrant here. So I can say that tan a is going to be equal to, and I'm just going to go for the acute angle first of all. So let's go for 2 root 2 all over 2 root 2. I'm just getting rid of the minus signs. So tan a is equal to 1. So a is equal to the inverse tan of 1. Table of exact values should give us that as 45 degrees. Remember, it's a fourth quadrant answer that I'm looking for because of this one here. So let's work out what a really will be. So quadrant 4, and it's going to be 360 degrees. So a is going to be equal to 360 minus 45. So a is equal to 315 degrees. So that's the value for a. Let's work out the value for k. Right, so k is going to be equal to the square root of both of these. So minus 2 root 2 squared plus 2 root 2 squared. Okay, non-calculator piece of work. So just remember that what we'll do is we'll square out the first number here. So minus 2 or negative 2 squared is going to be 4. And root 2 times root 2 is going to give me 2. So that's what's going to come out of this first bracket squaring. And it'll be the same out of the other one. Square the first term, so that'll be 4. Square this part, root 2 times root 2 is going to give me 2. So that's going to give me the square root of, that's going to be 8 times 2, sorry, that's going to be 8. That's going to be 8. Add the 2 together gives me 16. So my value for k is going to be equal to 4. So from there, what I can say is, I can say that up at the top, what was asked to do, 2 root 2 cosine x minus 2 root 2 sin x is going to be equal to, and it's going to be 4 cosine, and it's x minus a, so it's x minus, and it's 315 degrees. So that looks like part A complete. Right, if I look at part B, I have to find the maximum, okay? So for part B, I'm going to find the maximum of, and it's 3 plus 2 root 2 sin x minus 2 root 2 cosine x, okay? So if I look at this a bit more closely, that there is different from that up at the top. I think in this question it should have been the same, but let's work it through this way first with it changed, okay? So if it's going to be a changed value, I know that the value of this part here, or the k value for this part, is going to remain the same because we've got the same numbers that are sitting here. The negative sign is just round the wrong way round, so the k value would still work out to be 4 for this one here. What would change is the angle would change, because what we would have here is we would have the sine A. You know, when we do our cancelling out, the sine A would be a positive and the cosine A would be a negative. We could do all of this work again with this part here, but what we're going to get out here is going to be A is going to be equal to, I'll just put it up the top here, A is going to be equal to 180 minus 45, which gives us 135 degrees for part B. Okay, so what I can say now is I can replace this part here with 4 cosine, and it's similar to that. The only difference is that the angle has changed, and it's going to be x minus 135 degrees. Okay, right, so I'm trying to work out the maximum of this here, and I know that the maximum is going to be equal to 3 plus 4, and this part here is going to be a maximum of 1. So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 plus 3 gives me a maximum of 7. So that would be my answer for part 1. Now the part 2, okay, so we're trying to find the x value for this here. So what I can say is that 7 is the maximum, and that occurs when the cosine x minus 135 is equal to 1. Okay, so from there I can work out the answer to this part here and just work that one through. So I know that x minus 135 is going to be equal to the inverse cosine, I'll just write that out, of 1. So I've got x minus 135 is equal to, I know that cosine is 1 at 0. If I just think about the graph, so I'm just thinking about the cosine graph there. So remember, it equals 1 here and 1 there. So x minus 135 is equal to 360. I'm looking at two values here. So x equals 135 degrees, which is one solution, and x equals, that's going to be 495 degrees there. Right, this one is out of range. But if I subtract 360 from it, I should get another answer that works out, so it's 135. But this one here is the exact same answer as that. So the solution is x is equal to 135 degrees. Okay, now this isn't the solution that's given at in the answers. The solution will be coming from this part here, so x will be equal to 315 in the answer. To answer the question that we're given, this would be the way to go about doing it. To answer the question, if that there was the same as that there, if these two things were the same, all we would do is just substitute this part here into here, and that would work out to be 315 degrees, and working it through, 315 here, 315 there, and that would give us our answer that's the same as the answer page for this question. Okay. Right, so let's look at the marking scheme for this one here. Let's go for 1 mark for expanding this out using the formula sheet. Another mark for getting this part right. Both of these things must have the k also included in them. Okay. We'll go for another mark for getting, I'll go for a mark for getting 4 out of here, and we'll go for one further mark for setting this bit up here, and that's just answering what we've been asked to do in part A. So that's 4 marks that are there. For the next part, what we'll go for is, I'll go for 1 mark for being able to substitute this one in here correctly, okay? Okay, and that's with the 135 number that's there. I'll then get 1 mark for getting the maximum of 7, and further on from that, what we'll get is, I'm going to take a mark for getting that, and for finally getting the solution at the end. So this question here, out of 8 marks, I think a wee bit confusing because that's not the same as that. I think normally you would get a follow-on question from that, but all we need to do is just do this work again with this type of question, or if you know that the angle's the only thing that changes, just work out the new angle. Okay, so a wee bit confusing that question, but that question there, out of 8 marks.